Hello, and welcome to another episode of whatever we're going to call this podcast, where we cover what's going on in Northeastern Ohio or Northern Ohio and what we think you need to know. Good morning. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I mainly just obsessing with mic placement currently.
Yeah, same here.
Seems
I got it directly in front of my face right now.
Okay, sounds good. I've been messing with it. It's I think I got a new OCD thing. So, what else is going on? How was your week?
It was good. Celebrated my mom's 79th trip around the sun. And then the next day we had we had dinner. We cooked dinner for my in-laws for their 64th wedding anniversary. And then a few days later, I went over there because I volunteered to help. And he's old school, 92 years old. Still gardens, still does things. But he asked me for help because he needed to cut some branches off some trees for his garden. He cuts the branches and he uses them for bean poles.
Okay.
So he asked me to bring my pole saw, and I was like, okay, not a problem. Got there after work. 20 minutes later, I'm up in a tree with my pole saw, pants half falling down. It was an adventure, and I'm still sore. So it was a good week.
You need a longer pole saw.
Actually, the pole saw extends to 12 feet, but I couldn't. Okay, so he's got this tree. It's a gnarly tree. It's totally gnarly. He's cut it so many times, so it's all suckers.
Oh my god!
But these suckers turn into great sticks for beans.
Oh.
But I couldn't get my pole saw through this brushy tree. That should have been cut down probably 30 years ago. But I got it done. So I got them out of the tree, and he's gonna slowly cut them apart and make bean posts from them.
For bean plants.
Growing beans, yeah.
Okay.
The vine. They grow up the vine, and
Yeah.
He still does it like he did it in Italy probably 70 years ago.
Nice.
So
good for him.
Yeah, it's awesome. 92 years old and he's still doing it.
And that's why he's 92, because he's doing that.
Yeah, well, we were walking back to the house from doing that, and he's like, I don't know how much I can do this year.
He would do more than I would do.
Yeah, exactly. He's got 2 gardens, and he only asked me because he just came from the hospital. So he's feeling a little, he's a little slower right now because he was in the hospital for a few days, and he didn't want to climb a ladder. That's the only reason he asked me to do this.
Well, so, at least he's still got his head, because that's smart.
Yeah.
That's why he's 92, because he called his son-in-law to go up on the ladder. No bean poles for me this week.
Yeah. How was your week? What were you?
It was good. Busy with the real job. Columbus is a crazy market, so I was back and forth to there. And got kids, and what do we have? First orchestra recital.
Oh, I heard about that.
Informants, they call them, because as they go through, they explain to us, the audience, what they do to learn A, B, and C, all this. So in between the little musical performances they have, they go, this is what we do. We learn the A string and this and blah, blah. So my daughter's on the violin, which there was, 50 violins there, and a few cellos and basses. And then they had the band. They had band and orchestra. They combined. So
I heard
orchestra went first. Yeah, they were good. When you the thought of like 25 or 40 violins in the hands of youngins going off at one time, you think, ouch. But actually, they were pretty good. That's
awesome.
And then I thought that was bad, and then the band started playing, and I went, oof, because playing a clarinet or a saxophone and playing a violin, you can hit some bad notes, either one of those. But they did really good. It was And the key, I think, was they kept it short. Because we all love seeing our kids, but an hour and 45 minutes of choir or sometimes it's a little much. So they kept it under an hour. It was really nice.
Oh, that's it. That's perfect.
Yeah. And sometimes it just goes on. And you look at the program like, how long is this thing? And they're learning.
You're the dad looking at his watch.
Is that what you're talking about? My back starts to hurt. I'm old, so I'm getting old. I should say I'm not old because we just talked about 92, so I should shut up. But
yeah,
I've sat at dance recitals where my daughter has danced for 2 minutes, and the other hour and 45 minutes was I got to stay there and watch it. Yeah, it's nice after a while, but it's nice, but after a while, it's a little much. But
it wears on you. I hear you.
No, I don't. I love it, but after a while, they're cute, but they're not musicians just yet. So we're looking at each other's stories, and what I've seen in the news that really piqued my attention was cuts.
Oh,
people are screaming about it. What have you seen?
Same thing, and I'm just thinking it's protest season. It's going to warm up, and protests are going to get a little bit more.
Good point.
A little bit more out there, busier. So I just I got a few stories, but I think you should. I think we got pretty much the same thing. So
yeah, I mean that's a good point. Actually, protests. We'll get back to that because I wrote that down because I want to remember that. So, from the VA cuts, you got Department of Education cuts that are being announced. I don't think anyone really knows what's going to be cut yet or what's going to be affected. But what I wanted to know was, well, how much does the Department of Education actually affect Ohio, Cuyahoga County, Northern Ohio, whatever you want to look at? What I found is state of Ohio receives $1.5 billion from the Department of Education annually.
1.5 billion?
Billion.
This is for Cuyahoga or for Ohio?
This is for Ohio.
Okay.
Total. And most of that is grants that is spread out for college throughout the whole state.
And most of that's probably for DEI.
Well, it was probably at one point. I don't believe that is. Nope, doesn't even mention anything about that. It's just basically most of the money coming out of Department of Education for Ohio in total is for grants for underprivileged kids to go to college or school.
Okay.
And up until recently, yes, I think affirmative action was a part of that. It has to have been, right? That was part of the federal government up until recently. So I'm sure that the diversity, equity, inclusion was included in that as well. Up until now, I guess. What really I think what I've gathered is nobody knows what's going to be cut or what's going to be affected. The money is still going to be there. It's the federal government's still going to send Ohio money. It's just a matter of how much and what we're going to do with it. So people are complaining about things that I'm not sure they even know.
Well, I think these are the protests and the people complaining are actually. I think there's people funding this. I don't think it's too organic.
I would say maybe right now it is because you're getting 50 to 100 people, and from some of the interviews I've seen or clips I've seen, they don't seem to be the typical hired guns, and usually if you got hired guns, you've got a lot more than 100 people there, right?
Right, but and the signs that I'm seeing aren't professionally printed. So maybe not, but these are like anti-Trump organizers. However, North Ohio
Yes.
anti-Trump organizers and political experts say there are differences between today's protests and from 8 years ago. It just seems they're saying it's stronger this time around, probably because of the cuts.
Because of the cuts, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I think it's going to just build through, and it's still winter, so I think it's going to just get bigger and bigger. And nobody really they think they know what they're protesting, but they really don't know anything because nothing that's happened yet has affected them.
No, I actually I do have a clip to actually kind of prove that they don't actually know what they're talking about. But so there's News Channel 5, I think it was News Channel 5 I pulled this clip from, interviewed a mother, and according to the clip has been generations involved in education in Cleveland, which is pretty vague. I don't know. I mean, you went to school, so you're involved. When she was a kid, she went to Cleveland school. That means she's involved in education. I don't know what that meant, but here's some of the quotes from her. So she says, so the interviewer asked, "Do you trust the lawmakers to give money to public schools?" I asked Woodward. Woodward's the mother. And she answered, "I would say no. I don't trust that they'll be fair with the pot of money." So you don't trust lawmakers to pass out this money that lawmakers have been passing out for years. Is that, I don't understand.
Make any sense.
That makes no sense, right? So here, let me see if I can get this. Here it is. Let's listen to her. See if something, like maybe something stands out for you. Oh, by the way, one thing. Trump said Pell Grants will still be available to students, but Woodward, this woman doesn't believe him. There's your TDS. So here's a clip.
Trump says Pell Grants will still be available to students, but Woodward doesn't believe him.
Every parent wants the next generation to do better and to have a better time than they had. And I feel like I've let her down somehow in my generation. Sorry, now I get very emotional.
Through tears, the mother says her only hope is that the next 4 years go quickly. At the Ohio State House, I'm Morgan Trout reporting.
Her only hope is that the 4 years will go quickly. Okay. To me, that I felt very sad when I heard that, because if you think your only hope is to wait for the next election, you don't have any hope. I mean, how did?
Well, it's typical. It's all. Yeah, it's. We can go off on a tangent here about these type of protesters or TDS sufferers. Because it's all based on emotion. There's no rationality.
Yeah,
they don't even know what they're protesting or what they're angry about. Really, they're just Orange Man bad.
Orange Man bad. Yeah, I can't see it, and nowhere in any of these first couple stories we're going to talk about, because the VA cuts is a similar thing. But also, to tag onto that real quick before we move to the VA, but also wanted to put this clip in my notes. The Trump administration is also halting all income-based loan repayments that were put in place by the Biden administration. I believe it was an executive order that was ruled against by the Supreme Court, or at least part of it was.
Right.
And where they would take how much money you make and then adjust your loan payments, and then the government would sounded like the government would fill the hole that you would leave by not being able to afford all your payments. And this was an executive order by Biden that they're now going to stop. So that's also included in all this, which they were complaining about. But
and oh, by the way, I think the other thing that Department of Education handled loans, government loans, right?
Yep. Now the grants. I think that's a lot of the grants that we were talking about.
I think a lot of that's going to be handled, like, I think there's still going to be all that stuff, but it's going to be handled by the SBA, small business.
Or was it the Department of Commerce? Maybe one of those, because originally that's where the Department of Education came from. It was part of another department.
Yeah, so they're basically shrinking Department of Education, but they're not cutting everything. It's just going to other departments, which is the way it should be.
Yeah, the funding's probably going to stay similar or the same because that would be political suicide to cut the funding, first of all. So, but it may be putting in different areas. But the key, I think, is it's going to go to the state, and your state gets to divvy it up. So it's getting closer to you.
So you have the money, but you can do what you want with it, which is the way it should be.
And that's what DeWine is saying. And as of right now, they're saying, well, look, we're going to wait and see what money we do get and then make decisions from there. Because right now I can't even comment on it because I don't know what's going to change yet. But the Trump administration is saying basically the money's not going to be turned off. And that's the key that everybody needs to understand is it's actually a great thing because then you actually have more say in where your money goes.
Right. Well, I mean,
but people don't look at it that way.
No.
Her only hope, Tom, her only hope. Not talk to your lawmakers, not go down to the steakhouse or go to your county officials, and no, just sit there and wait for a Democrat. Because how's it worked for us so far, Department of Education?
Well, our scores have gone down.
Nothing but down since.
What are we? What is the United States now, like ranked 28th, if that?
Oh, that's a good question.
I forget. I think it's like 28th in the world. Where before the Department of Education, we were number one. Which I don't know how.
I'm clicking.
There's a lot of factors that go with that. So it's
globally. Does it have universal? The United States boasts some of the world's top universities. And
yeah, but you're talking universities. I'm thinking more about the K through 12.
Yeah, K through 12 STEM education, math performance. U.S. students ranked 28th out of 37.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Member countries out of the OECD.
That's sad, and that also reflects on our industries here too. Our engineers are retarded. I work with a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm
being brutal there. They're not retarded, but they're. I've actually talked to an engineer that said, a so-called engineer that said he can't stand math. And I'm like, isn't that what you do, all math? And that's just.
Well, it does go back to some of the reasons why you see tech industry pull from outside of the country and get those student visas and stuff.
There's that, and I think some kids. I do think kids they don't go with their strengths because our schools suck. That they don't know what their strengths are. They're just kind of guided in a robotic way.
Follow your passion.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if it's that. Like, is this guy who didn't like math, is his passion really engineering? And developing new, new things. I don't think that was a passion. I think that was just, you know what? You should look into engineering. Some freaking retarded school counselor. These are the good jobs. Here, take one.
You like that R word, don't you?
Yeah, it's coming back.
It's coming back in the style. It is.
I think it's gay and retarded is coming back.
Yeah,
it's back in vogue.
Yeah, and I think there's probably plenty of qualified engineers. I would just say as a company, it might be easier just to go to like India because you don't have to sift through all the crap. But
no, I think
added on to that. Go ahead.
I think there's great engineers. I just picked because that's from my personal experience of working with the few that I kind of just shook my head and didn't understand why they were engineers. And actually, one of them, when he left the company I work for, when he left, he became a realtor.
Oh, so, well, that degree went to flush that down the toilet. I had something else to say, but now it's gone. So I guess then added on to that is VA cuts that people are freaking out on. And that's super emotional. I mean, maybe if you can compare the two, I'm not sure which is more emotional. Cuts on veterans or cuts to your children.
Are there
education.
are there any real cuts to the veterans thing?
They are not cutting staff. They're not cutting funding as of now. They're cutting staff. They want to cut
Right.
80,000 staff. But as far as I can see, nobody really knows what the cuts, but they're saying no cuts to nurses or doctors. But again, how's it working for you so far? We should ask that question more and more. Like we just asked it about the Department of Education. Well, how's it working for us so far? Biden administration grew the department's budget and number of employees, and by 52,000 extra employees since 21 to 24 they hired, and increased the budget by $89 billion.
What were the main? Is there a stat on like what were the most? Like what were most of the employees that they hired? Like, because I just have to guess it was just extra bureaucrats that adding steps to filing things, and
Yeah.
I just sometimes like I don't have any experience with the VA, but I would think it's a lot like some hospitals, and that you just kind of talk to one person, then go to another person, then go to another person, where that first person could have handled everything.
So I would only have to say, if from what I hear from my father, going to the hospital, Medicare, Medicaid, and that's going to private hospitals or whatever they are, not the VA. It is like that at the private hospitals, at the regular hospitals, when you're paying out the wazoo for it. The insurance is crazy. I just said out the wazoo. That's weird. But so you could only imagine maybe that the VA might be worse than that, because it's the VA. It's the government run. Is way more bureaucracy. I've never been to the VA, but I know people who've like interviewed there and worked there, and they say, yeah, it's a red tape nightmare.
Right. That's what I think.
We can look at the stats, because with hiring 52,000 employees and increasing the budget by $89 billion, the wait times and the backlog increased over that time. Wait times for he's a Kasperwinski. He's a spokesperson for the VA. Between 21 and 24, wait times for primary care increased by 8.6 days over that same period. For mental health care, they increased by 5.7 days, and for specialty care, the increase was 14 days.
Okay, so it basically it was what I'm thinking. It just added extra steps, extra employees that they didn't need, and it just made a bottleneck there.
Yeah. Did they hire 52,000 new nurses and doctors? No, they probably hired secretary, people answer the phone and wash the floor and all that stuff, which, may be needed, but it didn't really help with wait times.
I guess I just hope that. I guess what I'm concluding is they hired too many, people that weren't really needed. Because if your wait times are going up, they didn't improve anything. Mm-mm. So I hope they're cutting the right people, right. And I hope they're looking at everybody. I guess that's a lot of these cuts. If there's one thing, it's not the cuts that I worry about. It's the selection of who's getting cut. Because is it seniority? Is it I hope it's based on merit. There's some lazy guy, woman working there. I hope they get rid of them. I
did see a quote saying that they're not, like I said, they're not planning on cutting nurses or doctors or anybody who has direct, so, which would help. But I mean, so it sounds like a lot of what they hired new was, backroom staff, not the people on the floor, but people doing the processing of this and that and the other thing. I mean, the bottom line is VA is a mess. It's been a mess for a while. They increased the staff and the budget, and the wait times went up. So something's got to be done. It's got serious problems. So apparently throwing people and money at it is not working. The VA cares for more than 9 million veterans, which that just seems like way too much, in my opinion. We shouldn't have that many veterans.
How many veterans?
9 million veterans that they take care of. Over 9 million veterans. Less wars makes less veterans. Nobody really knows.
That, I mean, it's taking care of people that just, maybe weren't in war. I don't think that's that many, is it?
Well, I guess it's anybody who was in the military for a certain amount of time, right?
Yeah, because if you're in there 4 years, maybe when you came out, you have your own. I guess the number is high because maybe some of these people didn't get the good jobs afterwards, and they didn't have their own health care. I don't know.
True.
I don't know how that works. I know one guy that I worked with for a while who was a veteran. He said the veteran, the hospital was okay, it was good to him. He said it did take, things took a little longer than they should, but they were good to him. But he never got he was kind of like a guy who just worked odd jobs his whole life. So he never had.
Yeah, it was a fallback for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I can't. 9 million actually doesn't sound like that much, but maybe it is.
It may not be a lot, but it'd be nice if it wasn't we could make it lower, because that would mean hopefully less bad things around the world. But yeah, I get you. It does encompass everybody, so maybe it isn't that much. But nobody really knows what's being cut yet again. So you're listening to all these people, they're protesting cuts that haven't been announced yet. So again, there's a problem and something needs to be done. But anyone who's protesting is all hearsay right now. They don't know what they're talking about. And I do agree that these will, if they're not already, will become organized protests. And I think you and I maybe differ a little bit on this one, but I think this season is going to be worse than the last season. And I think.
What do you mean last season? What's the last
season was the last time Trump was in office.
So 2020.
Yeah, 2020, 2021.
I don't think they're going to be worse. Only because we had COVID and people aren't working. So,
yeah, a fair point. I just see this as they protested that much from the last administration, and comparatively speaking, he didn't do jack the last administration, his last term, compared to what he's already done now. So what they freaked out over was nothing, and he's actually cutting things now, and they're personally threatened. I think there's a real threat here to them. They think there's a real threat to them, as opposed to it was more acting last time. I guess maybe was my point. So that's the only reason I see it maybe being a little worse.
Yeah. Okay. I can.
Maybe you actually get real people out there that are scared because they're believing the BS.
Yeah, but I think that we had that in 2016 or 17 probably, didn't we? Maybe
after the inauguration.
Yeah.
Worse. I don't know what would make it worse, right? I mean, I just think people are maybe more on edge because he's actually making real cuts. And where last administration, he talked about a lot of stuff and people freaked out, but wasn't like he wasn't able. He got blocked by a lot of the stuff. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not explaining myself right, but I think it's a little different for that reason. Maybe people actually think they were being affected or will be affected instead of just.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll find out. I think there's going to be. I think there's going to be a push for a lot of protests. I don't know how bad it's going to get. Mainly because if they kind of start really hammering down on these, like how much of these protest funding came from U.S. USDA, or what was it?
USAID administration.
Yeah, how much of that came from that?
A lot of it.
Yeah, so now it's going to have to come directly from people, not. I mean, from the people that fund it, not from an organization that funds it.
Good point. Yeah, maybe that'll tamp it down a little bit because they don't have the funds to move people around, and
we might see more larger protests that make it to television, make it in the news, but maybe we won't see as many. Maybe they'll just be larger. So they're going to, use that scare tactic of, oh my God, it's so bad.
Yes.
But in reality, it's maybe not so bad.
Boots on the ground. I think we're going to find everybody's all for small government until it affects what they really care about. And then we're really going to see what people really feel, because no one can argue that these departments are not bloated. And we would like more say in our communities. If we're gonna put our tax dollars to the federal government and then they're gonna give it back to us, we would like to say where it goes, not Washington. So we'll see what people they can really back up what they feel. What else? Good.
Yeah. No. I just have more protests. Things.
Yeah, I mean, I got a couple of cool clips from the Kent protests they're doing over the.
I was just about to play one, so go ahead. You probably have something a little bit better. I have one from Fox 8. What do you have?
Well, I mean, you know what? Where is mine from? Hold on, right here, Kent State. It's Channel 3. But just again, so the Senate Bill 1 is basically to get rid of pronouns, right? DEI.
DEI.
You don't have to.
It's DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion for let's see. Yeah, it's just whatever departments the schools, and this is for colleges. SB1 is for colleges. It probably I think it banned. No, it doesn't. No, it's just on how they hire and how they grants and stuff like that. I don't know.
So they're talking about free speech, and I think I could have sworn it had something to do with so it will erase history and limit diversity. So here's this bill that's going through the state legislature. It's going back to the Senate for review.
No, it's at the governor's desk right now.
Oh, okay. So as of the 20th, a couple of days ago, it said it was on Wednesday. The bill passed the House.
Yeah, it already passed the Senate and the House. So no.
Yeah. Okay. So you're right. Yeah. Restore free speech on campus and ban all diversity, equity, inclusion programs, courses, and mandatory training. It must go back to the Ohio Senate before it heads back to the desk of Mike White. Does say that, but this was the 20th. That's a couple of days ago. So you're right. It's probably already there. My bill will return our public universities and colleges to their rightful mission of educating rather than indoctrination. That is Ohio Senator Jerry Serino.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kirtland, I guess that is. So to that, they're protesting.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the same point. What are they protesting? So what's going to happen with these cuts? Why are you so angry? Let's ask student number 1 what she says.
What I feel most problematic about SB1 is the fact that they're trying to erase history.
Oh, brother.
Okay. All right. So they are taking away public funding.
Erasing history.
Yeah. So you can still do what you want to do. It's just not allowed to be supported by a state-funded school because it's, I think, exclusionary for a lot. So, okay, there's got to be something else, right? So student number 2, what's the big deal here?
I think one of the things is the removal of the identity centers. Here on campus, we have a lot of those. Each of those would just either have to be taken off campus or just be funded entirely by something different, which is hard. It's hard to find funding already for these programs.
It's hard to find. Yes,
the
it's hard to make money.
Part was that when I don't know, was that a he?
I was going to say something beforehand, but yes, it was a he. The first one was a she.
Yeah. Well, the scariest part was we have a lot of them.
Yeah. So what is that though, right? Do you here? I did pull up. What is a equity identity center? What is identity center? Is what he said, right?
Right.
So it's just all these centers that they have: Student Multicultural Center, the LGBTQ Center, plus, oh, don't forget about the plus. Kent State Women's Center. They actually have an identity project, a student-led Bible study, aiming to bring the gospel of Jesus Christ to KSU. They have the Multicultural Center, which is the center cultivates a sense of belonging and cultural affirmation for students, valuing individual growth and connecting communities to encourage. Never mind. I can't even finish it. So
I love it. I love it when these higher education universities have a lot of things that don't deal with education.
And they're not banning it. They're just not going to let a state-funded school fund it.
Well, they're not going to fund, I think the state can fund it itself, right? Or no, actually,
they can fund it themselves. They can fund it. And that's what he said. That's we have to have this because it's hard. It's very hard. Yes, making money is hard. So me giving it up is much harder for me to give it to you. That's why I'm complaining about you using it the way you're using it. Because you have yet to know what it feels like to have to make money. You're still in school. So, yeah.
Any more students there?
No, I do. No, just one professor who said that they're just trying to, censor professors, and yeah, we don't need to listen to her. Yeah, that's, what do you got? Anything better?
That was about the same thing. Yours was better than what I had.
Yeah, so, what else? What do you got today? I'm looking on your list here. What's going on with NASA?
Well, okay. The one thing I wanted to hit is that appeals court rolled back the gender affirming care law that was passed last year. There's going to be protests about that too. So another thing to protest, and I guess an appeals court, we're not allowed to. Ohio banned gender affirming care for youths, and an appeals court, put a stop to that. So Yost is saying he's going to fight that, and that might actually go to the Supreme Court. The only thing, the appeals court stopped that law. So what they're going to, but they didn't stop the part where transgenders can compete in sports. So they can't compete in sports.
They can't compete in sports, but
they left that like that.
Because there was literally no argument. I mean, there's no argument for either of them. But
well, I hear people trying to argue it, but but anyways, the basically why they stopped it is because it takes away rights from parents. So I guess that's the main argument.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
I get their argument about taking away rights, but I don't think you have that right. So I don't think you have the right to make a decision on a voluntary decision or a cosmetic decision. So
it's not only cosmetic. It's they wouldn't be able to take puberty blockers, and I think there's another, like some type of hormone.
Right.
So they wouldn't be able to do that unless they're already on it and the doctor says that it would be dangerous to stop it, which I don't think there is a case like that. But
so I try to take the emotion out of it. Let's try to take the emotion out of it. If I wanted to take my daughter or son to the doctor and say, my daughter or son, I don't think they should have their left arm. Would it be okay for the doctor to lop it off because I said so?
No, that's actually illegal. So
right.
Yeah, no, I agree.
If I wanted to go in, if I went to the doctor and said, Doc, my 12-year-old has cancer. Well, I don't see that. I know he has cancer because he told me he has cancer. Give him chemo. Would they be allowed to do that? I don't think so because chemo is poison.
Yeah, but I think the problem here is when you get doctors, and when I say doctors, I'm saying they're therapists or psychologists or psychiatrists, probably saying that they have that they're whatever, they got dysmorphia and their identity.
Yes. So my point is really, they're not taking rights away from parents. These are not, you never had a right to mutilate your kid or give them poison.
Right.
Because hormone blockers are permanent. You cannot, once you stop puberty, it doesn't start up again. And so I don't think there's any rights that are being taken away. I think you're protecting children. Now, there is a fine line there. If I am, what's it, born? No, it's, there's a religion that, Jehovah's Witness. I've known somebody whose grandmother was Jehovah's Witness. And they wouldn't go to the doctor, no blood transfusions, all this other stuff. Now, there's a fine line there. If you're that, or you have that feeling that you don't want to use any modern medicine because you're religious. Now, do you have the right to not give your kid the proper treatment when you know it's going to work? There's a gray area there. So, right. But in this case, that's not it. This is not.
There's no gray area.
There's none of this medical procedure makes them any better. All the studies show it makes them worse. And cutting off, sorry everybody, but cutting off their tits or their dicks is not going to help them. That's my feeling. I have very strong feelings on this, as most people do.
Oh, I think most people do. I think it's. I'm surprised that a court actually took this on because I think it's going to lose in the long run, and I'm surprised they're still kind of pushing for this because even as lefty as open-minded as Europe gets or England, London and things, the
UK
back
years ago
they've banned it. So
a couple years ago at least.
Yeah, I think it's been a couple of years, and I'm surprised it hasn't really noticed. They don't talk about it. They never bring it up. So I'm kind of surprised this was even appealed.
I think it's a last gasp.
Yeah, I guess so.
I hope.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's going on with that. So I think they'll overturn the appeal. I don't know how that works, but I think Yost will win that. And I think he's going to really try to win this because if he runs for governor, it's going to be a nice
talking point for sure.
Yeah. So
either what's his past? He's going
to take his time with it and make it a talking point.
What's he said in the past though? I would like to see if he's changed his tune or something. Was he a little more virtue signalist? Or
I don't know.
I know
he's. The only thing I know about is he kind of said some things about the Second Amendment that I didn't care for. I don't remember them now, but I remember. And then he changed his tune pretty quick.
I mean, specifically on transgender issues. Was he?
Yeah, I don't know.
Was he on the fence 2 years ago when it was, or 3 years ago, whatever, when it was?
It was past shoved on our throat. It was past 2 years ago, and I think he was behind it. But what was he in 2018? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So we're going to see protests about that too coming up, I think. And then the final thing, which driving home from work yesterday or the day, Thursday, I actually saw a Tesla with a sticker that said, "Don't blame me. I bought this Tesla before I knew Elon was crazy." Something to that effect. So people are getting scared.
Yep.
About what's happening with the Tesla right now and all the vandalism that's going on with it. I think the federal government's going to hit those people hard, but there might be protests about that here. Or, if you see, if your car gets vandalized, and this is kind of cool. This is,
I was going to bring that up. Yeah. It's idiots.
Yeah. You could, you keep that in mind, but if you have a Tesla and it gets vandalized, there is an attorney in Ohio. We'll put it in the show notes. David V. Sugini Esquire, who is offering his services for free. He'll represent you for free. So,
I thought it was the eyebrow guy you were going to say, Misny, whatever that guy's name is.
No. This guy's in. I don't know what city he's in. I think he's somewhere in mid Ohio.
It's good to know. Yeah.
But he is offering. He said, here's his tweet. If anyone in Ohio has a Tesla and it gets vandalized, call me. I'll represent you for free. So,
Nice.
and then he's in Columbus, but yes, Cugini Law, Cugini Law. You could
Well, we'll
Google
put it in the show notes if we ever get any show notes.
it.
Yeah,
I
the
just want
idiots.
to mention that because we haven't seen anything in Ohio yet, but I just by the virtue of seeing that bumper sticker, I imagine people that own Teslas are getting a little nervous.
Actually, I didn't know it was going to, but yeah, I heard a clip from one of the late night shows. It was pretty disturbing. Where they were
scary.
They're cheering, shooting at Teslas. Yeah, it's crazy.
I guess the craziest thing that I'm hearing, like people cheering it on and comparing it to the Budweiser shooting up beer cans. The Budweiser, protester.
Kid Rock shooting up in his backyard.
He bought the
burning
beer.
a dealership down. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I don't understand vandalizing people's, own property versus buying. If you buy a Tesla and do that, good on you, man.
That would be the comparison. So, but nobody would do that because it's a couple of cases of Bud Light is not a $90,000 car. And I think I seen some actress somewhere who posted something. She got busted. She posted something on whatever, Twitter, Instagram, of her Tesla being taken away on a flatbed, saying that she sold her Tesla. And then I think it was X, because then the community note said, no, this was 2 years ago.
That was Sheryl Crow.
Was that Sheryl Crow?
I think that was Sheryl Crow.
Yep.
A couple of famous people have done something like that, but I did see one where Sheryl Crow was waving bye to her Tesla, and it was.
Well, no, yeah, that's what because the foliage was not it wasn't the right season or something.
It wasn't the right season.
Yeah, that's right.
I am surprised that people, because that happens a lot. People will put a video up claiming something, and it's easy to tell that it's from a different time or
different time of year.
Yeah, and it's or different location even sometimes. Like you can tell it's not.
I got a fake one from my dad about the Ukrainian war. It was clearly a video game, but again, he's not 92, but he is 78 or 79, and I had to go. I said, Dad, that's fake. He goes, how do you tell? I go, look at the background. It looks like a painting, doesn't it?
Nothing's moving.
Yeah, you could tell by the grass. It has that. I mean, it looks really good. But
yeah.
For somebody who doesn't play video games, you could see how they would fall for it. But
yeah, no, I definitely see that. This is a completely different discussion, but it's hilarious. I hooked my dad up with YouTube, over a couple of months ago, and he's watching it more and more. But being almost 80 years old, an immigrant with broken English and not an understanding of how YouTube works, like clickbait and things like that. I don't understand. I don't know how to explain to him. Like a lot of this stuff is just like, how do you explain clickbait because they actually called me up or not. My mom texted me and she's like, is it true Sylvester Stallone died? I had to look it up because I was like, I don't know.
Well, maybe. I mean, he is.
Yeah. He's like around 80. He's like around my dad's age.
Yeah, that's right. He is.
He's late 70s or 80, and still in good shape. So that kind of surprised me when I got that text. And then I looked it up, and I was like, no. I texted him back, no, he's alive. Then when I went over there, I looked at what video they were watching, and I guess there have been videos produced like this over the years about different celebrities dying, and they haven't really died, but it's just clickbait. And I don't know how to explain that to them. Like my mom catches on to it a little quicker.
That's tough.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
Tangent. Yeah. Let's there's that. This I want to keep getting back to this NASA story because it's been in your farm for a couple of weeks now.
A couple of weeks.
And I'm kind of curious. I want to try to pull it back to Northern Ohio a little bit. We've been talking a lot about Ohio in general. What's going on with NASA?
I'll play a clip here. It's a couple of minutes long, if you don't mind.
No, do it.
I'll explain what's going on. If it would just
As the NASA astronauts return to Earth Tuesday, local leaders are even more determined in their quest to get NASA to move its headquarters from Washington, D.C. to the Glenn Research Center.
It's natural that would come here because NASA Glenn is involved in every mission directorate of the space program.
Matt Dolan with Team NEO is among a group of 26 business leaders who co-signed a letter urging the White House and NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman to relocate NASA headquarters from the D.C. Beltway to the Buckeye State, the heart of the American Midwest and the birthplace of aviation.
We are compiling a number of prospective sites, whether they be building sites for building a new headquarters, whether it be renovating existing building.
The lease for NASA's headquarters in D.C. is up in 2028.
Okay, I think that's enough.
Yeah.
So NASA's
Cool.
Ohio's trying to get NASA to move to
What a great fit,
Ohio.
since we already have. We
had the Glenn Research Center, and they they are involved with all most of everything,
and plenty of room to expand once they buy IX Center and finally get rid of it or use it. You know, obviously they're using it for something else, but I mean, there's a lot of room for improvement over there too. I mean, right by an airport. What a good fit.
Actually,
awesome.
I didn't even think of that. That is a really good fit, and it's close to it's right there to Glenn Research.
Yeah.
Boy, that'd be something. I don't have too much, they haven't put out any numbers on how much it would help the state or anything like that. But it would be really cool if it did come here, and the lease is up in 2028, I think they said, in Washington, D.C. and decentralize Washington,
decentralize it. And geez, what a well, maybe we'll talk a little bit about this in a minute, but what a future Brook Park has, because you start bringing more NASA there, and maybe possibly a new development with the stadium.
I think it would be cool if they did a whole if they do that with the stadium and they have events there, and
Brook
then
Park is the place.
Think about this: you bring NASA there, and you could actually have a really cool, like a space museum, not the science museum, but maybe something that's really based around space flight. And
part of the Smithsonian. They are running out of room there as it is anyway, and especially they have a whole nother building that's just for aerospace. It's huge.
So,
in Virginia.
This could be really cool. I don't have too much to add to it. Birthplace of aviation. But Florida and Texas are going for it too. So probably because of the launch sites, which makes sense too.
They get the launches. Come on. Get something. But one name did pop out. Matt Dolan. Yeah, I saw that. He's the owner of the team formerly known as the Indians. Right.
The team formerly known as the Indians. Yes. So, and there was, which I'm surprised they didn't mention who the other 20 something business.
He's the big name.
Yeah. He's the big one, but
that's cool. I like that.
So
I think that'd be awesome for the area. Yeah, totally.
That'd be bragging rights, I think, for Northeast Ohio. You could take your rock hall, and this would be a lot bigger.
All right. Let's try moving on to a follow-up from last week, which is keeping it in Cleveland. The Cleveland City courts got hacked. We talked about that last week.
Oh yeah. What's the follow-up here?
Oh yeah.
I think some information was stolen, right?
Yeah. So this week, it got spicy over the week, actually. This week coming up will be about I think the 22nd or 23rd is when they got hacked. So this week will be a month, and they are still not back to normal. Most things are being done by pen and paper. No internet, and a lot of the building doesn't have internet access still. They are still installing new security protocols and software.
So this was a lot bigger than they're letting on.
Yep. So
there's ransom going on too, right?
Yeah. So that's what I'm reading my notes, and I wrote something that was really weird. So what happened was the attackers called the media. Specifically, what I was reading off was Channel 5 via email. They didn't call them; they sent them an email. And the message reading: "Residents are being led by their noses. We are ready to tell you the details about the cyber hack." So supposedly the group is telling them, they were online for a very long time. They needed to download very large amounts of personal data that were not protected in any way, they said. Personal files, examples of personal files of the accused, convicts, employees, and residents were stolen. These are hundreds of thousands of documents. They are demanding $4 million in ransom, or they were start releasing the stolen documents to the public. So News Channel 5 asked for proof.
Right.
So the people who supposedly did the attack sent a list of file names that they had stole, including thousands of spreadsheets from IRS forms, as well as vendors such as banks and law firms. They asked for more proof. They sent screenshots containing what appeared to be court employee personal information, including social security numbers.
Ooh, shoot.
Which they destroyed, they're saying. And so when News Channel 5, I have a clip, when News Channel 5 went to see what happened, well, let's see what happened when they went down to ask questions. All right, let me do this. There. Okay, here we go. Or not.
A court employee told us they do not have access to the internet. Staff is forced to complete tasks by hand, and the court is still updating their computers with new security features and passwords.
And is there anyone I can speak with about the cyber attack?
We tried to get answers from the court's spokesperson. We went to the 3rd floor, were sent to the 11th floor.
Hi, I'm sorry to bother you again.
And then the 14th floor.
We just did that.
But no one would talk to us. Jeff couldn't get information he asked for either.
I had to make phone calls and find out about it all by myself.
It turns out all he had to do was go to the Cuyahoga Sheriff's Department for his background check.
Literally cost me a $10 money order, and it was done in less than 5 minutes. But we didn't know that until we started doing some digging, and here I am.
So first of all, we could talk about this poor sucker who waited a week to get his background check for a new job. And earlier in the clip that I didn't take was him complaining that he missed a week's worth of pay and I thought, and then after a week, he started digging in and saying, I can go anywhere and get a background check. I don't have to go all the way downtown. Like, sorry about that. But
he got it. He got his, I never heard of anyone getting their own background check.
Yeah. You can actually go to same places that do drug tests, do background checks. And you can just pay for your own.
I just always thought that was the company, whoever's.
There's another one. I was always wondering that. Yeah, but that's a good point. But maybe certain places would require. I don't know, but nobody's answering any questions at the city. Nothing.
No, we need some accountability for this.
Absolutely, because that's some serious. And then we went to ask, "Hello, anybody home? Hello?" Nope. Nobody knows anything. Yeah. Hello. We're not Jehovah's Witnesses. You can answer the door.
They're not even. Oh man, they don't know what to do.
No, they were completely blindsided by it and had almost zero security protocols. When you've got we'll find out, I guess, if this is true or not. But they're saying all these were unprotected, not encrypted in any way.
I'm wondering how many of those were actually public records, like court cases and things like that. I mean, you would think there's public records for that, but there shouldn't be any type of personal
employees. It should be no person.
That's definitely not. I think
a security hole, big time.
Yeah, I think if they're government employees, I think you have access to know who works for them, but you shouldn't have their personal, like social security information, things like that.
Address. This is the court, right? So you got people who are pissed off. I mean, if they could find the court reporter, maybe they, you know what I mean? So yeah, who they are, but having all their address and phone numbers and stuff, if that's what they got, that's what it sounds like.
That's horrible. That's horrible. Yeah.
Was judges included in this? Did they have judges' information?
I don't know.
They're a court employee.
Are they? Yeah, I don't know.
That's the thing. Again, like last week, nobody knows anything, and the city isn't saying anything. But
If
the
that
mayor's
did happen, they wouldn't mention it because that's awful. Oh, Jesus. Oh, this is bad.
the mayor sure is out in front of the cameras for the Brown Stadium, though. He's got a lot to say about that. So there's that. We're gonna keep on that. I got that on my list. That's gonna be interesting.
I'm kind of curious. Like, aren't there any, like, you know how there's HIPAA laws, right?
Yep.
Like my dentist was complaining on how much he has to, his security and his backup and all that needs, what level it needs to be at. It's
get
hard
audited.
for them to do it. And for the court system, expensive. He was kind of a nerd, so he did everything himself. But I'm sure there's like doctors and offices that pay for that service. But for them not to have that type of security and that type of backup and stuff that doesn't even make sense to me. Like, it doesn't. It seems unreal.
It doesn't make sense, but then again, it does, because it just incompetence at even at the city level is imagine what it is at the federal state level. I mean, it's astounding that just now it's worse. If you come out the day after and said, this is what happened and this is what we think they got, and we're working diligently, we found the errors, blah blah blah, it's basically over now, right, for the city. But now that they keep hiding it, it's just making it, now everybody's just mad. Own up to it.
But I mean, like, who's in charge of that? That's like, that is.
Remember
like
that DeWine sent in the National Guard cyber unit to help last week. That's where I was in the part of the article.
Right.
And otherwise, who knows what would, if that wasn't the case, would they still be? I mean, where would they be at now if they didn't have the state to bring in? They'd have nobody. It would have been even longer because they would have had to hire a separate company and all that stuff, and cost the city millions of dollars.
This is going to be interesting how this unfolds.
Yeah, and
somebody needs to take the fall for it, or a bunch of people should be taking the fall for this.
And here's the lesson that needs to be learned: it's not just the city of Cleveland. I guarantee you, there are way more cities in our state and Northern Ohio that are just the same way.
Across the U.S.
But yeah, just in general, I bet there's a bunch more just in our reach.
Well, I would even think if they did this to Cleveland, they could do this to any one of the larger cities and suburbs. Parma. So they got a court system that
maybe a point of order on the next city council anybody wants to go to is how secure is our personal information?
Yeah,
maybe we should learn from Cleveland's incompetence.
Interesting.
All right, what do you want to continue on that? What about this cop story thing here? Cleveland police story, maybe, or what do you got? What do you think?
Well, we got bridges that are
under
because the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore last year that got hit by the tanker and collapsed. So there are bridges across the country that are.
Sorry,
what was that?
I said, I'm reading a list of bridges.
So here in Cleveland, I forget how many bridges across the country.
How many bridges we have across the country?
Well, how many are under investigation right now? There's 4 in Northeast Ohio. I'll just go over them.
Yeah.
If I could play a clip if you want.
Yeah, please.
All right.
NTSB releasing its report into last year's deadly collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. The container ship, Dali, endured a pair of electrical failures minutes before it struck a pillar of the bridge. The report found the bridge was almost 30 times over the acceptable risk level for a collision like the one that brought it crashing down. The NTSB chair said the collapse could have been prevented.
What's frustrating is not only did MDTA fail to conduct the vulnerability assessment on the Key Bridge, they did not provide, nor were they able to provide, the NTSB with the data needed to conduct the assessment.
6 construction workers died in that Key Bridge collapse.
All right. So that's just the background there.
Yep.
So we have 4 bridges: I-4, 90 Bridge in Cleveland, the Main Avenue Bridge in Cleveland, Detroit Avenue Bridge in Lakewood, Rocky River border, and the Carnegie Avenue Bridge in Cleveland. They're going to be looking at them closely. They're saying they're not. It's not that they're not safe to drive on now. So don't. Nobody should be freaking out.
Vulnerable to something similar at the Francis Key Scott Bridge, like because the 490 bridge is going over the Chicago River and by the steel mill, so there's a lot of barges and tankers.
The main concern is back when those bridges were built, where a lot of the vessels just had 800 containers on them, and now they're taking 24,000 containers on them.
And similar to so that's probably what they're worried, because there's a lot of ore and stone and stuff that goes up around those bridges downtown, the Main Avenue Bridge, that kind of stuff. So they okay. So they're not safe, but they may be vulnerable to an incident such as a barge running into it or something like that.
Yeah, all those bridges
won't be container ships for us, but it would be like coal or stone barges, and there's a lot of stuff that gets
salt and stuff too.
Yeah, asphalt, anything that gets shipped around the Great Lakes, which is a lot. Actually, I was on a stone freighter. I did some work on it or sold some material to a customer on it, and those things are old, and they don't build them very often. They're usually they're almost all from the 70s.
Right.
So yeah, they that's kind of one of the things they found out with that bridge is they needed an island around it, so it runs into the island and before it runs into the.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of newer bridges.
So I don't think anybody should be worried about it right now, but it's something to keep an eye on. And I think there was over like 400 bridges across the U.S. that are like under scrutiny right now, or in the 300s. And I don't know why I don't see it. It must have been a different article.
I did watch a recent video somewhere on YouTube from one of the engineering channels that I follow, and they did mention, they were talking about the infrastructure, and they did have a staggering figure of, 55,000 bridges or something crazy like that across the country. And like 2,500 were at risk, something to that effect. And then there's even like what you're saying, like 300 to 500 that were like critical around the country, something to that effect. But it's good to start. Unfortunately, this is usually how it works. What do they say? A lot of OSHA regulations are written in blood.
Yeah, something has to happen before something's done, really.
Because honestly, are people going to go, "Hey, your taxes are going up because we're putting this new bridge in"? And they say no, but when it collapses, everybody's okay. Sucks, but
yeah. Either that, or they can just budget for it and be a little smarter about it.
Would it be nice? Yeah, it would be nice if they can, think ahead.
Yeah. And the only other thing, I got a couple of little things here. Cleveland Police are holding a hiring event May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So that's coming up. They're looking for police officers, which is a good sign because we don't have enough cops. I don't like cops. A little personal thing there, but we do need more of them. I just hope they hire good ones. And
the current environment, it's going to be hard to find the good ones, because if you're a good person, I'm not sure why you would want to be a cop. But
not at this point. Not how they've been treated. My biggest problem is when there's a bad cop, the other cops don't say anything.
Yes.
So that, to me, that makes them all bad in a way. Now I know, why. I get it, but it also it's annoying. So
I get it, because a lot of the times they're trying to protect their own from being wrongly accused in a lot of cases. So it's just a knee-jerk reaction for the police union and all the other police officers to go, well, that could be me. But it also, like you said, it protects the bad police. And the more you trash the police, the more the more the public It has yeah, you're right. The less good people are going to join the force. You're going to get it's vicious cycles, I guess, in nutshells, and that's what I keep seeing. They need more training. Actually, you don't want to defund them. They actually need more training.
Yeah, I say defund the police, but I don't really mean it. It's my
defund them as they are currently.
Yeah. So more training and the culture has to change a little bit.
More like reform. More like reform the police.
Yeah. Yeah. Because my biggest thing is that it's just I think some of the cops have a little bit. They feel like they have a little bit too much authority, and other cops kind of stick up for them when they shouldn't be. And I wish that part of it would change. And that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. But I talked to during the whole BLM thing. It was a lot of, hey guys, I get it, but the more training is what they need to get out of these to handle these situations better. And I'm not a big proponent of therapy in general, but in this situation, more money needs to be put into their mental health, because a lot of these situations occur because of years and years and years of abuse from the public to the cops. They get a chip on their shoulder, and that's it. They're done. They're angry and they're bitter, and they've got, being a police officer, seeing that crap every day. It's similar to being a nurse or a doctor or an EMT. It gets to you. It's like being a soldier, and they need more to pay attention to that.
I wouldn't want to be a cop. I should correct that. I wouldn't want to be a cop in a major city.
Mm-hmm.
But go. It's on Facebook. It's Cleveland Police District 2, and they got I can't believe they do this. They got I don't know, a JPEG of like the salary and benefits and minimum requirements, which aren't that much actually, but the salary is pretty good. I think it's at close to 85,000, $5,000 signing bonus. Starting salary is in the low 60s, and the rest of it's so small I can't read it. So you could zoom in on it with your phone, I suppose. So, but that's taking place. You can sign up for it. You can, or call them call them. We'll leave a link on the show notes.
When we get them. All right. And then, I think the last thing on my list is just a quick update on the Cleveland Browns stadium situation, because it looks like, or sounds like, or seems like the county commissioner's office is teaming up with the city of Cleveland to go against the proposed new stadium from the Haslam Group.
Bibb, I don't have anything clipped or anything, but Bibb's being a crybaby for his lack of taking this up earlier.
Yep, I agree, and but he's got a fan base, or he's got a ally in the here it is. Is this it? Yeah, he's got an ally in the whole thing with the Cuyahoga County commissioner, or at least the executor. I'm also there it is. I'm trying to find this PDF that I pulled up, now it disappeared. But so bottom line is the county is saying, county and the city are saying that the projections from the Haslam Group, HSG, which is a Haslam Sports Group, relies on our lofty goals. They're saying it relies on projections that are maybe unsustainable. Every game will sell out. Every event is a complete sellout. And which I'm looking at, it may be a bit lofty, and also some of the projections they are offering, or some of the ways they're offering to pay for the $600 million in bonds, is new taxes, which haven't been passed yet. So, I mean, valid point to that. So, maybe they may be a bit lofty. It's also seeing as though, as my point was last week, I think, with the added events that the city would make up for what they lose in the 8 games from the Browns not being there. But one of the points from the county is also brought up is how many of those events that would go to the arena or the convention center downtown would go to would be taken away from Cleveland also and go to the new stadium. Valid point. So they're just bringing up the fact that that the Haslams aren't exactly being true to their projections, and it's too big of a risk. Okay, I see some of their points. What else do you have to? I mean, what do you have to offer? Because the Browns aren't happy. I don't.
They're
hear
not
anything.
offering anything.
Nope, they don't have anything to offer. There's nothing to offer.
All they're doing is crying.
Yeah,
and this is home for me, but not Cleveland itself, but Cuyahoga, and my entire life, and even before that, it hasn't been run well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it should go to Brook Park, or move to the new location until Cleveland figures out what Cleveland is or wants to be. I don't know why there should be a stadium down there anymore.
I agree, and I think something I did not bring up last week was, if people don't know the history, Modell didn't just up and move the Browns. He didn't say, "Hey, I want a new stadium," and then the city of Cleveland said no, and he moved. He was talking to them for years. Mm-hmm. The final straw was giving the Indians and the Cavs two of the crappiest franchises at the time in Cleveland. The only place that sold out every game were the Browns, and they got a new stadium. The other teams in the Cleveland and the Browns didn't. So again, the Browns have been talking about this for years, and the city of Cleveland has nothing. They have, again, taken the largest selling point they have in Cleveland is the Browns. I mean, it's sad to actually say that, but I mean, that's really what draws a lot of people downtown. I mean, obviously the other ones do too when they're hitting it, but year in, year out, as crappy as they are, they still get 50, 60,000 down there. And the Browns, Cleveland just taking it for granted again.
Yeah, as always.
So I get it, but the city,
like, we can actually do a full show on things that Cleveland has done wrong, and I don't know how to fix it. You can't get a legitimate mayor to run, or I should say, when there is one that's a good candidate, they're not going to get elected. You just don't have enough residents in Cleveland to do that.
Yeah, enough residents that
there's not there's not enough diversity in Cleveland to get a business-minded resident into Cleveland.
It's not a coincidence that the city of Cleveland has had one mayor that is not a Democrat in the last 60 years or longer. It might be even longer. And there's Mayor White.
Longer at this point, yep.
Yeah, it was Mayor White. And what happened during Mayor White? I'm not giving the mayor all this credit just because he's a Republican, because for the record, they suck as bad as Democrats do. But the whole point is you keep voting for the same people, and you're getting the similar results. So maybe you should try something different. And when you had something different, that spurred a rejuvenation to the city.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not giving all the credit to Mayor White at all, but at least there was some sort of different thought going through the city for a short time.
I mean, Cleveland Indians had a lot to do with that at the time, and Jacobs Field, and you had a pretty good resurgence. That was an exciting time for Cleveland and Mayor Michael White. I don't know. I complained about him back then, but looking back at it, I'm like, oh, he wasn't so bad. Or I should say, it's not a high bar to go to, but he was better than these past few.
Yeah, and again, I don't know what he did to make it better. It's just a blip in the radar. That's like something that hasn't happened and hasn't happened yet since. As somebody with a different ideology, I guess you want to call it, whatever. But I don't know if.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I kind of started thinking, is Cleveland still trying to do the? I haven't heard about it, like the 15-minute city thing?
There's been talks about it, but I don't know. I mean, they're talking about it like everybody else is talking about it, but they're not doing anything because that costs money.
My biggest like wonder about Cleveland is like, they're building all these high rent type of apartments, who's going to live there and for how long and why? What makes you want to like Playhouse Square, Playhouse Square is cool, but after the show, there's nothing there. I mean, like, so why would you want to live there? Like, there's nothing to do except for Playhouse Square. And once the show's done, you just go home.
Yeah, everything's closed.
Yeah. Besides a couple of bars, I mean, if I want to grab a bite to eat after the show and have a drink and talk with my friends about the show or, whatever, there's nothing there. And it's like, what the hell? I don't get it. Like, what's the attraction to live down there? Besides, maybe if you work downtown, it's easy, but still doesn't. It doesn't. Like, if that was like jumping, if that was a really jumping area and the 4th Street was really jumping, besides just game days, and even game days or concert days, like the House of Blues, it's like after a show, there's nothing there. Mm-hmm. I'm walking back to the car going, man, it would be great to have a drink and have a little bit more fun. But no, everything's closed. And I'm just
you want to spend money, but nobody's letting you spend money.
Yeah. So I don't get it. I mean, I understand why businesses stay closed, I guess.
Business, like, again, a vicious circle. Nobody down there because there's nothing down there, but there's nothing down there because there's nobody down there.
Yeah. So it's crazy. And I don't know how they're going to attract people to it seems like they attract people to move or to get a place, but they're not there for long. They're there a couple of years and they go, oh, this sucks. So
parking sucks, traffic sucks. I mean, the traffic's not even that bad because it's not that big of a city, but comparatively.
Yeah. And there's no benefit. There's like nothing exciting about it. I don't get it. This is a whole other conversation. I think that, talking about the stadium, losing the stadium and the Browns from Cleveland, I mean, it has a lot to do with this. It's just the mindset of Cleveland that there's been no vision for Cleveland ever.
No. And perfect way to wrap it up. There is no vision. And just like there wasn't when the Browns moved last time.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get to you. They won't move. They called his bluff, and he moved.
Yeah. Well, Cleveland sucks.
It does. I do travel a bit, and when I go to, Decatur, Indiana, and I go, yeah, Cleveland's actually not that bad because at least there's buildings above 15 floors. And, when you compare it to living in most other places in the country, when you don't have any access to that kind of stuff, it's not great.
I get that. I guess the most annoying part is it doesn't, not that it needs to grow, but it needs to develop. And there needs to be a reason for me to go down there more than once every couple of years.
Yeah.
Besides a concert or ball game, there's nothing, like, there's no reason for me or, for a family to go down there, really. I mean, museum, you got the museums, but how many times can you go to that,
Yeah. I mean, University Circle's nice with the museums and stuff there. But like you said, you go there once or twice, you're not going back for many years.
Right. I don't know. There's the buffs that love the art museum stuff that go down probably more than a couple times a year, but that's rare.
Yeah.
And that's not even Cleveland. That's, you're talking, that's University Heights. That's not even, I'm thinking about the art museum. I'm not even thinking about we got the Rock Hall. How many times can you go see that? And
for me, once in 30 years, because
I've been there. I've been there like 3 times, and two times it was just to show visitors.
I should put that on my list for.
It is cool, but I'm just looking at somebody's shirt. I don't really care. I could, you could. I don't know. It never really. Museums like Rock and Roll Hall of Fame museum it's neat, but I mean, I don't know. I know some people that love it. And they go
It's
down
very
there.
diluted at this point, I think. Speaking of
Yes,
that, I mean,
it's a
they put
joke.
so many people in there. It's like, all right, well, so yeah, but right now they're still going back and forth. I just thought it was interesting that the city and the county are teaming up, but the state and the Haslam sounds like the state wants it. I haven't heard much pushback from DeWine or anything on it. He seems like he's all for it.
I think they're going to move it.
Yeah.
It just seems that way, and because the mayor and who's helping him,
mayor and the city, Cuyahoga County executive, or let me get it's the county board of county commissioners. Ugh.
Yeah, that's not going to do anything. So they lost it. It's done.
Yeah, I think, and it seems weird to me because it'll still stay in Cuyahoga County, so I'm not sure why the county is against it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point too. That did cross my mind when you brought it up. I was like, well, that's still Cuyahoga County. It's not like it's going to Summit or Lorain or anything like that.
And he is complaining about the $600 million because it's a bond, so they have to be paid back and blah, 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 of course. But only a portion of that is for the county.
Right.
But most of it is going to be put on the state. So again, kind of takes a little bit of the argument away.
Yep. He's worried about his next his reelection.
Yeah,
that's all he's worried about.
Yep.
Which is typical for every politician.
I agree. I did have a story from a couple of weeks ago about protests. I think we talked enough about. Here was the one. It's orange barrel season. Just wanted to put out there. Slow down. It's orange barrel season.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a video of ODOT doing pothole cold patching, and some of these, you got to give them credit. These trucks are flying by at 60 miles an hour with no cones, and they're patching the cracks along the line to the next, lane that's flying past them.
Right.
And I just thought I'd bring up, when you see them, slow down because they're patching the roads for you.
Move over and slow
down. Because that was one of the things they did bring up was they had 55 crashes with plow trucks this year. When they brought up in the article, just went over, everything's up this year as far as what they're going to patch, how much they're going to patch because of all the extra snow. So the plows are on the road more than the past years. So there's going to be more of those people patching it. So just keep an eye out. Let them do their job so we can have smooth roads or smoother roads.
Yep.
Other than that, you got anything else? What
do you have the Hopkins Airport protesters? Did you want to talk about?
I did have that from last week.
I had it last week too, and I kind of got rid of it, but
yeah,
because it's old news, but it
is old news.
It's new old news.
I pulled it aside because I thought it was maybe worth a short discussion on what do you do in these situations.
Yeah, that's why
as a motorist.
That's why I mentioned I mentioned it, but we never got there. Was what to do about protests that might be en route to wherever you're going.
Okay.
Like how to handle them. This is a good one for you. You actually had. We've talked about it personally before, and I think you have a good point of view on how to handle these.
Run them over.
Oh. Yeah, this protest that took place. Is it from 2020 or 2022? It was a Palestine. It was like people protesting on behalf of Palestine, and they were.
This was recent, though. I thought no.
Here, let me click on the link.
I'm looking through the. I don't. The story's recent.
The story is recent.
I didn't pull a clip.
It was. I don't have a clip. I don't think there is a.
Oh no, you're right.
Okay,
we filed records. It took nearly a year for Cleveland to release the footage. That's right. What this is. The story is about the footage being released.
So it wasn't. It was people in cars protesting. So basically, they stopped traffic.
Yes.
And I don't ever remember hearing about this when it happens. So,
but it doesn't give you I'm trying to look for a date on when it actually happened. Of course, why would you put that in the article? It's not that important.
And this was by the airport by 2:37 and 480, I think.
They have. So I'm just going through the article real quick. We're not going to. This is from the police on the radio. We're not going to approach these people right now. We are well undermanned, and they have 200 plus cars.
Right.
Refresh my memory. What was my great idea when you get into these situations?
Well, when you're driving and you're in traffic, sometimes you don't know what's going on ahead of you. You should leave enough room in front of you to change lanes, to maybe do a U-turn, whatever you can. If you find out it's a protest, if you see it's a protest, leave enough space in front of your vehicle to maneuver. Don't be up on the guy's bumper, because you at that point you're stuck. So leave a good car length in front of you. I don't know if anybody could have, because this was on the highway, but
it's right by the airport. It looks like right where the airport. You split off of what's the 237?
Yeah,
which is that splits off from 71 or 480 rather, not 71.
Right. And I don't know if anybody could have done anything there as far as turn around or take another route. But just keep in mind that when it's protest season, I think it's going to get funny this year. Leave enough room in front of your car when you're stopped so you can make a U-turn if possible, or change lanes, maybe veer off to another street, a left or a right, whatever. Leave enough room. And if there's people protesting and blocking the road, and they're right in front of you, and if they're kind of violent, I mean, there's enough footage. I mean, if they're violent, I'm running you over.
Mm-hmm.
I am
it's
not
kidnapping, in my opinion.
I've seen people stop and get pulled out of their vehicles and beat up. This hasn't happened in Cleveland, as far as I know, but I've seen enough of it where I'm not stopping for. If you're going to protest like that, you're going to be ground meat.
Well, that brings me to, they've updated their tactics, because they're in cars, so they're organizing it in car, so they're in the cars and not on the road to be run over. So
either that or it was cold and they were.
That's a good point. But that would be the smart play, was to don't go human against car against car. Make it much easier, much harder for somebody like you or I to push them out of the way. Although I'll still try. But this does worry me, because I'm not sure. It worries me personally, because I'm not sure how I would react in this situation. I'm not sure I'd be able to stay calm for all that long. Because
it's hard to tell. If there's just cars, you don't know what's going on unless there's cops and they're kind of telling people, walking down the road saying, "Hey, there's a protest. Just wait it out. We're gonna clear this up." I actually think it's more dangerous with people, because you get a gang of people surrounding a car that can become violent. Cars are cars. It's just causing a traffic jam. You're going to miss your flight or your appointment or something. You're going to be late to work. But people blocking the road is far more dangerous for both. For the
true. That's true, because then that's when they're busting out windows and pulling you out of your car.
Yeah. And we're getting extreme here. That we don't really see that in Ohio, but it can happen.
Yeah, it has happened in other places, and with everybody getting whipped up, I wouldn't surprise it happening. Seeing it happen again.
So basically, this story is it's old news that they just released the video from, and I watched it. I don't know why they didn't release it. It just, they were understaffed, and really, I don't know what a cop can do. So I don't want to give any protesters ideas, because there's not much a cops can do.
No, until they got more cars. Or more manpower. 2 or 3 units aren't going to do anything with 100 cars.
Yeah, get some tow trucks. Get a truck out there to block them, and just get tow truck. I don't know. Yeah, that's a tricky one. I'm glad I'm not a cop. I don't know how I would handle that. So
there's not a whole lot you can do until you get more help, and maybe that's why they didn't want to release it, because maybe it showed them it showed the weakness.
Protesters how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the airport, I'm surprised we didn't hear more about it, because that's a smart place to do it. Man, you're really gonna make a point to these people being late if you're gonna make them late for a flight.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
All right.
So it was pro-Hamas people. So,
yes.
Yeah. We have those here.
They're mad because that was a year ago. So I was gonna say they're mad because they're not getting their condoms, but I didn't know about that until recently. I think that's basically, we've hit all the big ones. Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, no, we're good. I got a couple of small stories, but I'm done. It's been long enough.
Yeah, we got an hour and a half under the belt, so I think we're good. Cool. I guess we'll wrap it up there, and we'll see everybody next week, I guess.
Sounds good.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.